Hi there, good noon, and welcome to our session on XAT. In fact, today is a day when you and I will have two sessions on XAT together. One at 12 and the other one at 7, where we'll sit down and go through many more questions. So you can practically think of it as part one, before the main course comes later. This is the third in the series where we go ahead and talk about 100 most expected questions. So this is a third bit from me. Of course, the other faculty members have also gone on to contribute a lot. If you happen to have any questions, go ahead and share that with me. They say, will the above link help for XAT exams as well? Of course. Gracias. Damn, man, you have a tricky screen name. I'll have to indulge in some kind of tongue twisting to get it right, but absolutely. You notice it says CAT and OMETs, OMATs, other management entrance tests. So yes, besides, let's not forget that as far as verbal ability and logical reasoning goes, a large chunk of the section is similar to what you get asked in the other exams as well, including the CAT. So yep, you definitely find that useful. So before we proceed further, does it resonate with you? Has it ever happened that you became afraid of something or about something? If yes, then you realize that it is inaction that eventually leads to those fears and concerns. And if you start acting, you can definitely take care of a lot of those fears rather rapidly. Okay? So with that, let's act and allow those actions to help us conquer this different exam. So by now you have looked at it multiple times, so I'll not spend any more time on this. Let's go ahead and dive into the very first question that you have here, and that is choose the grammatically correct statement. So what you see is 5 sentences on your screen. One of these is grammatically correct. You need to choose that and mark that as your answer. Go ahead and do your best. And instead of reading it on the screen, I'll just read it on the screen down here so that my life becomes a little easier. So what's your take? Rishabh, what is the percentile? Give me the percentile and then we can probably see. But it is what, 4th today? So यार अभी 4th को 7th के पेपर के लिए क्या बताऊं तुझे? If you can ask me a more question which is a little more specific, I can perhaps help. Is it B? Let us see. Shreyansh. My bad. No. Let me bring that back. Okay. What's happening today? So no, B should not be the answer. Shreyansh, in this case, you should also have chosen A, because A also had an error. Lot of errors in preposition. So it's not A, B, or D, as all the three are grammatically incorrect. So C or E. As the prices of things rise, we cannot afford to buy as many of them because the purchasing power of our dollars fall. Ooh. What is the subject for this verb? Fall. The subject for this verb is purchasing power, which is singular. And when you use the simple present tense and the subject is singular, the verb needs to have an S or an ES added to it. And therefore, instead of fall, it should have been falls. Just add an S to it and it becomes all right. So E is also grammatically incorrect, which basically means that C is the only one that can be termed grammatically correct. Let's go ahead and look at our next question now. Another grammar question basically. So there you go. So what about second? What's your take? Akhil, Anmol, is that your answer to the second question or the first one? And for the rest of you, I'd greatly appreciate if you also tag the question number to which you are answering. Okay. So loads of A's, and that also happens to be the right answer. Let's have a quick look at the rest of them. B, you remember, effect is a noun, affect is a verb. So what we need here is a noun, right? While all of these, something, so it's a place of a noun. So instead of affects, it should have been effects. There is only one meaning in which affect is a noun, which is very peculiar, very particular to psychology. You'd usually not even see that in your world around. Then C was very subtle, by the way. If you've identified that, that's great. We needed to remove the at. And in D, that's easy. Easy subject verb agreement issue. And then E, China has retaliated to announcing. No, China has retaliated by announcing. That's their retaliation measure, and that is why. But then I think most of you have managed to figure it out. So with that, let's move over to the next bit, which is a passage. So let's dive into the passage. I'll take you through the passage paragraph by paragraph. Once you are done with the paragraph, let me know and I'll switch you over to the next one. So here you go. The first one. Done? Okay, so here is the next paragraph. Okay, next. In fact, I don't even need this. We can remove both of these and make it better. Okay, and here is the last paragraph. Hmm. Feminist ideal, I wouldn't know. Okay, so here is your first question based on the passage, the third question of the session. What do you think would you choose as your answer? So what's your take? Okay, so absolutely right. B it is. I also see an E, so let's check E. Women have to go a long way before they can achieve an equal position in the society like men. When you say women have to go a long way, we are saying that it is the women who are deficient in some way. So it's not the women who have to go a long way, it's the society that has to go a long way. So that subtle change helps us rule out E. Then I also see a D. Let us check. Women play a great role in empowering themselves, hence they should not just expect men to liberate them. The second half of D goes on to contradict the second half of the paragraph, of the passage. And therefore D can also be ruled out. A passage obviously cannot be about an answer choice that goes on to contradict it. Okay. Here is the next one. Okay. This is what I like. A lot of answers streaming in, but C is absolutely correct. Yup. The moment you focus on this part, I think that makes it correct. Then here is the next one. Okay. Where do we find C in the passage? I see C as an answer as well. But if we go back to the unfavorable terms that have been mentioned, let us see. See? So it talks about some particular type of work. It talks about low pay. It talks about job insecurity. These are the kind of things that have been mentioned. HR policies, they're not there. So C should be ruled out. But D is definitely a lot closer. B, women do not have a say in deciding what would their job roles be. And these decisions are made arbitrarily by the male employers. So this part is right. But then, is this something which is coming from this context or the next paragraph? So if you look at the context in which the sentence is made, the second half cannot really be inferred. And that is the problem with B. But D in its entirety can be interpreted from the context of this particular sentence, and that is what makes D the best answer choice. Okay, here is the next. So which of the following statements is false with respect to the passage? Go ahead. Okay. So let us check. Okay. So we're getting A, B, C. Okay, so let's check. Let's start with A. So we are being asked for something which is false. A is something that is true. We are being asked about household word. The very first paragraph has this sentence that says, and I'll just read it out for you. An average of 28% of women spend 3 to 5 hours a day on household work compared with just 6% of men. So this is true. We are looking for something which is false. So A can be ruled out. How about B? A single policy or decision cannot operate to make women economically empowered. Particular case needs to be considered. First, absolutely. You notice third paragraph, but women's experience of them differ vastly. And then they talk about depending on their particular demographic, economic, cultural context. So women should not be looked at as a uniform group. You can infer it from there. So this is also true on the basis of what is given to you in the third paragraph. So A and B can be ruled out. How about C? Recognizing that women's unpaid care work in the domestic realm can make us achieve women's economic empowerment. So merely because you recognize this will lead to empowerment? No. The last two paragraphs tell us that there is more to be done. In fact, the last paragraph brings in the structural imbalances as well. So this alone will definitely not work. This is false. So can be our answer. Anything else that you guys are considering? E, let's check E. None of these. No, but then C is not true. And therefore, C. That automatically helps us rule out E. Recognizing women's unpaid care work is not enough. The passage explicitly states it, in fact. So this is false. With that, let's move over to our next and the last question based on this passage. So limited, and in this case, let me help you. In fact, this was just a couple of questions ago. You notice this. This is the line that we are talking about. I also took you back to the context. So what do you think is the meaning of limited in the context of this sentence? Here are your options. This should not take that long. So can I say limited in that context was a bit like restricted. And if I see these 5, the only word that is closest to restricted is contained. You're not allowed to go beyond that. You're in a way put in a container, so contained. And that is why B it is. And that takes care of the passage. And with that, now let me take you over to fill in the blanks. So I'll take you a little more, I'll take you through complicated questions later, but let's keep building on our ability to spot the correct one. So here is the first fill in the blank for you. Go ahead and tell me what you think. Okay. So I see Vishal, Anmol, Vrinda. Hey, fantastic. Okay, so A it is. Entirely with you on this. So by now you guys have actually become good at it. You deserve more challenging questions, it means. Pretty soon. Let's bring those out very soon. How about this one? Yeah, Varad, absolutely. That is how you should approach these questions anyway. Okay, so if I look at just the first blank, we'd be able to rule out A, B, and C. Entirety and whole can go in the first blank. So that shifts our attention to the second. Lead to embrace. Embrace means that you adopt, you accept, you hug. Or clasp. Clasp basically means to hold somebody or something very tightly. That won't really fit in this particular blank. So clasp won't fit, embrace will, and that is why D. That's going to be the best answer choice. Can we see, can we use era in the first, in the era of its journey of 139 years? Makes no sense here. Let's say in the era of Shah Rukh Khan's journey of 30 years in Hindi cinema. In the era of Shah Rukh Khan, in the era of that newspaper. But then you not talk about their journey as an era. Moreover, I don't think we can actually use grab in the second blank. Even that won't work. And with that, let me take you over to a poem. So go ahead, read it, spend some time with it, and then we'll see. This is actually a stanza break. Given the constraints of fitting it onto a single slide, I decided not to not to hit enter here. So let's see. Very dark. Damn, reading Sylvia Plath can at times be exhausting, emotionally draining. Ready? There are just 124 odd words here. Should I take you over to the questions now? Okay, so here is the first question for you. Aryan, it is one of those poems that actually can be termed ambiguous. But that's okay. You have options. You don't have to create something all by yourself. You just need to work through elimination and then move on. And I've actually picked up the part where the poem becomes easy. I've skipped the tougher part. And you probably find it difficult because poetry has symbolism. So let's just spend some time. Let's just go back and let's see. Let's at least deal with those symbols, okay? So the U tree points up, it has a Gothic shape. Now, this right here, when I read this, it's still okay, but the moment you say the moon is my mother, you realize that this becomes the symbol for the father. And it has a Gothic shape. Gothic shape is, so basically it tells you that the presence of the father was not very comforting. The father was powerful, dark, maybe even dangerous. And then it takes you over to, but at least that points towards the moon. But then you notice the moon is my mother. Now the moon as a mother, come to think of it, when you say moon, you're saying even the mother is distant, even the mother is away. You can see, but you cannot grasp it, reach it, touch it. So she's not the ever-present, doting, kind mother. In fact, it goes on to say she's not sweet like Mary. Christianity. And then her blue garments unloose small bats and owls. Now, blue is the color that is associated with Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. And then the garments carry bats and owls. So these are once again creatures of the night, right? They are commonly associated with darkness and danger and discomfort, fear, those kind of things. So that's what she gets from the mother as well. So father, mother, and then this wish. How I would like to believe in tenderness, the face of the effigy gentled by candles, bending on me in particular its mild eyes. So this is what the poet desires. Now, what do you think? Which one of these is closest to her desire? she's basically distant father, distant mother, both cold, both aloof, both not present. And how I would like to believe in tenderness. So she's basically craving for the love of the parents, particularly the mother. And that idea is captured in E. The effigy is not symbolic. That's a metaphor. He says that the face of the, so that connection with Mary that she's made, she wants her mother to be more like Mary, present there. Something that she can see. See, gentled by candles, so that close, not like the moon. So she's basically seeking the presence of her mother. And that is why E is going to be the best option for us here. And with that, let's dive into the next question. We've already talked about this, so let's see. So, I think when it comes to 11th, it was basically a toss-up. So I was looking at D versus E, and on the whole, it is that aloofness and that indifference that was coming into picture. The feeling or the sensation of fear was not that strong in the poem. And therefore, but the darkness, that emptiness, that dominated. In fact, if you look at the next stanza, you'd realize that she is seeking some solace in religion, but even religion is not providing her that comfort. So instead of fear, I think that tilts us more towards darkness, and that is why I'll prefer D over E, which is just fear. Whereas if you include darkness, you are in a way also incorporating fear as well as those other emotions. So that'll be a little more representative of what the passage is or what the poem is about. So that's where I stopped today. If you enjoyed the session, don't forget to give it a like. And of course, do join me once again at 7 for a longish session where we practice many more questions together today itself, right? So keep on attending all these sessions that happen at 7 to help you. You can also consider our online classes if there are certain specific issues that you are facing. And that should generally help you. And in case there are only some specific areas that you want to look at, you can actually unlock a free trial and benefit from that too, right? And all of that, I'm sure, will help you reach this great score moving forward. So with that, signing out. You want to ask any more questions, join in at 7 and tomorrow at 12. And I'd definitely be there around for you, helping you out, right? So that's it from me today. Have a great day ahead. I'll see you soon.